Let's answer to the 8 main question that can let you understand better what is the sound designer. So what exactly is the sound designer responsible for in the video game? The sound designer is responsible at 360 degrees of the sound, the aspect of the sound in a video game. So she manages the effects, the various sounds, the compositions, the dialogues. We are talking about the Foley sounds, so this figure needs to be really specialized in various aspects of the music composition and the sound management. So what is the sound designer? Is the expert of the sound, and even if sometimes the companies can ask for a specialized, just and focused composer for its own creation, the sound designer is usually the first choice to create something that is linked completely to the creation of the sound aspect of a certain video game. Second question, does the sound designer work in a team or alone? This depends especially by the size of the company or of the project that the sound designer needs to create. If we are talking about work or freelancing, usually the sound designer works alone. But if we are talking about a work for a big company and a big production, usually the sound designer needs to work linked to the designers, the developers, with all the aspects of the various professions of the company. The sound designer needs even to follow the rule of the marketing. If even the marketing part of a certain company say to follow a certain rule for the creation of a certain video game, usually the sound designer needs to adapt himself and adapt his music for this rule of the company. So it's better every time to talk about everything, to be every time detailed about what will be the composition and what will be the main creation. Third question, must a sound designer be able to write music or play musical instruments? So it is not a rule, but it is really advised to be even a musician or to have a good knowledge about harmony, theory and music composition, especially because the modern sound designer of video games needs to know all about the sound. It is really advised to know everything. If theoretically the sound designer can even don't play music instruments and can even be linked directly to another composer of the company, in the while it is better to understand it, because thanks to it you can imagine what will be the sound, what will be the composition, which kind of notes you can put in a certain part of the game, in what way you can manage the loopable and seamless music of a composition. Even if you are working with a composer, it's better to know it, because you will have a common language to share. Fourth question, can sounds and music help to make the game popular? Of course yes, so it's a big yes, because even if we have differences between the east part of the world and the west part of the world on the creation of music for video games, think even to the JRPG, so the Japanese role-playing games that are really focused on the music part of the video game. Think to games like Skyrim, think to games that come from the west part of the world, where music is on the back of the popularity. But in the while, by explaining what said Michel Sean, so a really great composer and theoretical man of composition, he said that music is the emotional part of the game, the dialogue is the storytelling, and the sound effect creates the realism. If we are talking about a sound designer that can work at 360 degrees, we are talking about something that creates realism, storytelling and emotion. Fifth question, is there a universal algorithm for working on game sound design? No, because everything depends by the work. If you are, for example, working for an action game, or if you are working for an arcade game, or if you are working just for a platform game, for a simulation game, there you need to adapt yourself. And this adaptation is not just linked to the kind of genre that you need to compose for, but it is even linked to the company it is linked to the requirements of the group of developers, of the marketing team. So you need to talk with them, you need to share your ideas, and you need to receive their ideas, and you need to adapt your music to this kind of requirements. So there is not a universal algorithm, but there is just a universal algorithm if we are talking about harmony theory and composition. There, yes, but when we are talking about creativity and creation of sound design for video games, there is no algorithm. How is the sound designer profession in demand in the world? Sixth question. The designer profession has a really huge demand in the world, especially because the world of video games is completely increasing day by day. Think that development of the research of the virtual reality or the augmented reality. Think to the artificial intelligence that will create a really huge improvement in the smartness of the various characters in certain video games. Think to all of these developments. The way, the path is going towards the improvement of the informatic part of life. So the development of this section of life. With this development, sound designer profession is a big part of this world, especially because it can be required not only just from video games, but can be required for the virtual reality, for the augmented reality, and for cinema. So yes, this kind of fields, this kind of sections in the artistic world, they are really increasing in the popularity, in the economy, and we will see a really huge improvement economically. Seventh question. What is the average salary of a sound designer? So the average salary of a sound designer can't be explained in a detailed way because it depends by a lot of things. Think to geography, think to the size of company, the importance of company, the importance of projects, and the year in which the video game is being created. It's really important to study all of these things, and we can say a specific and detailed salary, year salary, but usually average is around $30,000 per year. This includes even the nations with the highest technology and nations with the lowest technology. It depends every time by the geography, the company, the size of project, and the year of living in which the video game is being created. Question number 8. Top 3 games with the coolest sound design. We can't put a real answer to this question because if I can say, for example, that I like a certain composition and I think maybe that this composition is one of the coolest in the world of video game, maybe for another sound designer, for another composer, the coolest one can be another one. It depends every time by the person, but I can say which are for me the 3 coolest sound design works. The first one is The Last of Us 2, a video game made by Naughty Dog, and the composer is Gustav Santaolalla. It's really incredible because it explains in a really realistic way the landscape of the game, and it explains the emotions of the characters. The second one is the heavy metal of Doom Eternal, made by ID Software with the sound designer and composer Mike Gordon. It's really strong. It explains really good the rock soul of this game. The third one is Journey by that game company. The composer is Austin Wintory. This game is a sort of explanation of the size of universe, of the feelings of softness and travel, for example. These are for me the 3 coolest sound designs.